We're fully into the swing of election season in Nigeria, and the paparazzi are having a field day. We're seeing pictures everywhere. We're also seeing interviews on the pages of the newspaper, on radio, on TV. We like to call that political paparazzi, paparazzi politics. My name is Isabella Akinseye, and Politico Politica starts now.
The Nigeria of the future is for dreamers like me.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
Our local government areas must become special economic zones.
I hope to disrupt the politics of failure.
There will be no sacred cow.
Dissolve all the congresses, dissolve the convention, and start all over again.
Mr. President, my people are under siege.
Leadership is not about the position you hold.
You can't shut down your shop and be chasing criminals.
If you allow criminals, there will be no shop.
Find ways to fix your judiciary.
That's what say I.
And most importantly, fix the mind of the people.
The party must do what is right.
Nigeria suffers from a state of economic radiculopathy, social sciatica, and political dystopia.
Welcome back to Politico Politica with me, your host, Isabella Akinseye. Let's meet our guest. He is a human rights activist and pro-democracy campaigner. He is the founder and publisher of the international news agency Sahara Reporters. The website's main preoccupation is citizen journalism, supplying videos, photos, news stories, and commentaries that expose official corruption and abuse in Nigeria's government. He was an active participant in the June 12 pro-democracy struggle. He studied geography and planning at the University of Lagos and holds a master's degree in public administration from Columbia University. While in the University of Lagos, he was deeply involved in anti-military demonstrations and student unionism, which ultimately culminated in his election as the president of the student union government, where he served between 1992 to 1994. He teaches modern African history at the City University of New York and post-colonial African history at the School of Art, New York. He is the African Action Congress presidential candidate. He is Omoyele Sowore. Omoyele, welcome to Politico Politica.
Thank you for bringing me.
So let's go straight into our topic of the day. We're looking at what I would like to call paparazzi politics. Politics for the optics, politics being played out in the media. There are so many candidates coming out, interview after interview. What do you make of that?
That's the season for it. And that's what you expect, that politics will bring about all kinds of tactics for coverage of political happenings and events. And I guess different people call it different names. I'm hearing about this political paparazzi for the first time, so something new.
So you think everybody coming out really believes they're going to win and they're not doing it to sort of position themselves for maybe an appointment?
Different people have different reasons for entering into a political contest. I cannot second guess why people do it. I'm not in a position to tell. I'm not walking around with the intention of trying to define why different people get into political contests. I can only speak for myself. There's no reason to be looking at a crystal ball instead of contesting and pushing out the ideas that I have to attract votes, to ensure that I win this particular contest as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I'm not in this to be called a former candidate or a former contestant. No, I'm in it to win.
So paparazzi politics, do you think it plays such a huge role when it comes to securing victory at the polls, or do you think it's more about the behind the scenes, the grassroots engagement, the things we don't see on TV splashed around in the pages of the newspaper?
So in the case of our own contest, we don't even get that many TV coverage. We didn't have that, we don't have that much newspaper presence. We're using social media and unorthodox means of reaching out to voters, and it has worked effectively. So I don't know if that applies to what we do. In the sense
but you're still using the media, you're using new media.
Exactly. What I'm saying is I'm doing it on my own. I'm reporting myself, or we're reporting ourselves. So because you made reference to newspapers, you're not likely to find that many stories or if I thought you find any about us in newspapers today. I'm talking about print, but you're likely to find a lot of materials on electronic and on the web media. Absolutely, yes. So, but again, to address your question, we're not doing it so that, for the optics, we're doing it for substance.
But if you were to gauge, how much would you say the media coming out to do a debate, coming out to grant an interview like you're doing right now, plays a part in ensuring victory at the polls?
It's part of politics. It's, you have to reach out to people, to as many people as possible, through as many platforms and medium as possible. That's why we're doing this. So if I leave this place, I'm going to go to another TV station. If I have a chance, I do a radio show. When I'm walking around, I live stream my movements. I attend rallies, I go to churches, I go to villages, I go to the bank of rivers, I climb on a mountain. When people can see that life, I make them available to them so that they can have a view of how things are going and they can decide how they want to connect and engage and interact with my messaging or messages, and that will help them form an opinion about who I am and why they should vote for me. It is completely a legitimate way of reaching out to people. So I'm not questioning how much is out there in terms of materials for public consumption. They need it. The public is in need of it. They ask us for it. They're always consistently and constantly asking for materials, content that they can interact with. And it's our duty to provide that to them. And when we don't, you lose out in helping them decide who is best for them. Sometimes it's just optics. Sometimes within that optics, they find substance. Sometimes people also don't have time to look at, rich content as much as we would love for them to see it. They just need content that they can interact with and engage with instantaneously and with little time, because the world is suffering from attention deficit disorder. There's just too much out there and things are happening so fast. If you don't put a little bit of your materials in people's faces, you lose out in connecting with them.
What about the Nigerian voter that takes in all that political paparazzi, takes in all that content that you're feeding, but still makes their decision based on what a pastor is going to say, an imam is going to say, where that person is from? Do you feel that there's any need to still give them that material?
Oh, absolutely. You have to give them materials so that you can make them become conscious. A lot of what you are talking about comes out of ignorance. A lot of people are ignorant about the value of voting for someone based on the content of their character, as opposed to their ethnic origin or their religious affiliation, or in some cases completely based on some other biases that has nothing to do with the well-being of a nation or their immediate environment. Our duty is to ensure that we are forceful in letting them understand that there's another way to look at this. And I think in our own case, we've done a great job at that people know, don't look at me from the point of where I come from or which church I go to or which mosque I go to. They're looking at it from the point of what is up there, what has this guy done, what has he got in integrity, has he got antecedent, is there a rich history behind him. And if I was not constantly putting out materials and content out there, some people would never even have known that I've been an activist or I've been around within the Nigerian political scene for 30 years. They would have assumed that I just came from nowhere. Like
you came back from America, now you want to be president.
And I just came from the US. But they'll find out that I was with Abiola in 1993, that I was a student union leader when I was in my 20s. That was baffling to a lot of people. But without putting out this content that we're talking about, contents, we would not have had that kind of impact.
So you say the political paparazzi is also responsible for political education?
And consciousness, yes. You have to use it to conscientize people, mobilize people, and educate people, because people need to be armed with some evidence that they're taking the right decision. And it's your job to do that. And it also helps to, engage very well with them, because they ask questions based on these things. They ask your opponents, what have you done? Because this other person did this, because we have evidence now. So we've reached an era of evidence-based campaign in politicking, and I think that's amazing.
And like we say in youth parlance, if you don't give them, how will they take it?
Exactly. And, it's very important that you understand that the world has changed, and, we are now in a digital era. In the past, you just needed to package yourself and tell the story through third parties, or tell it through a radio jingle or a TV advert. That's no longer enough, because the hunger for content has expanded exponentially to the extent that you have to constantly be in the faces of people. I used to talk about newspapers and how people responded to a newspaper story 10 years ago. If you didn't like a story or you liked it, you wrote a letter to the editor. The editor could get 120 letters, decide to publish the one he likes, right? But today, if there's a story on a web page, people take that particular story, they push it to their own newspaper, which is their Facebook status page or their Instagram page or their Twitter. And within 30 minutes, you could have up to 1 million people commenting about a story, or liking or disliking it. That level of engagement is unprecedented. It's never happened before. And that has spread viciously into politics. So, and of course, it has a lot of fallouts as well. It also means that people can make up stories that are completely untrue.
Fake news. So there's been a democratization of the media space through technology.
Yes.
Thank you, Omoyele, for your contributions on our topic of the day.
Thank you.
We'll be going on a quick breather on Politico Politica, but would like to hear from you on political paparazzi. What do you make of it? Can you make a comment about it? Do you believe it's real? Do you think it's necessary for politicians to constantly feed people with content? Please make your views count by using the hashtag Politico Politica, and you can tweet at PP with Isabella. Politico Politica is the handle to follow on Facebook and Instagram. We'll be going on a quick break, but when we return, it's our politics and more segment. Do stay with us.